Здравствуйте. Hello and welcome to Russian language class. Let's have a quick recap of the previous lesson before we move on to the topics that we will be covering today. So, let us start. In the previous lesson we had discussed about the declension of personal pronouns and the adjectives, singular adjectives in the instrumental case. For personal pronouns I have written a couple of sentences and we will see the uses of personal pronouns in the instrumental case. Vykhadili na stadion s drugom. Vykhadili na stadion s drugom. So, did you go to the stadium with a friend? If you have to use a personal pronoun in place of drugom, what will you use? Drug, third person, singular number. So, we will use on, masculine. Dayakhadil na stadion s nim. So, here as you can see we have used on in the instrumental case. So, on has become nim. Why nim? Because it has been used with a preposition. Had this preposition was not there, then we would have used im. So, im is used without preposition and nim with preposition. Yes, I went to the stadium with him. The next is we встретились в столовой с сестрой. So, did you meet in the canteen with sister, or did you meet the sister in the canteen? If you have to use a personal pronoun in place of sister or sistra, what will you use? Third person, singular number, feminine gender, which is ana. So, how ana declines in the instrumental case? Да, я встретился в столовой с ней. Yes, I met in the canteen with her. So, here ana becomes nei, nei with a preposition and yei without a preposition. So, this was on and this was ana. What about ya? Ya changes to mnoi, ty, taboi, мы, nami, вы, vami, and ani, imi without preposition and nimi with preposition. So, this was personal pronouns. What about the singular adjectives? For example, каким карандашом или какой ручкой вы пишете? So, with which pencil or which pen are you writing? So, here we can use the adjective sini, sini which is blue. Ya pishu sinim karandashom, I write with a blue pencil or a blue pen. So, sini has become sinim. So, e and e kratke has been replaced with im and yaya has been replaced with yei. So, with masculine adjectives we use im or im as the ending of the adjectives, and with feminine adjectives we use oi or yei as the ending of singular adjectives. So, this was about the declension of singular adjectives in the instrumental case and the personal pronouns in the instrumental case. So, now we will start the topics today. In this lesson, we will start with the declension of possessive and demonstrative pronouns. So, how demonstrative and possessive pronouns decline in the instrumental case. So, let us start with the possessive pronouns first. So, what are possessive pronouns? The pronouns which denotes the possession. For example, moi, tvoi, nash, vash, ivo, io and ich. So, how do they change in the instrumental case? So, let us start, again we will follow the same pattern. We will pose a question and then we will try to answer the question using the possessive pronouns. S kем вы ездили на экскурсию? С кем вы ездили на экскурсию? With whom did you go to, or did you go on an excursion or a picnic? Я ездил на экскурсию с твоим братом. So, as you can see, we have used the possessive pronoun tvoi. Why tvoi? Because brat is masculine gender noun. So, with masculine we will use masculine singular, which is tvoi, your. So, I went on an excursion with your brother. So, tvoi becomes twaim. So, what we are doing is we are replacing ikrat ke, which is the ending, with e and ma to get its instrumental case form. Ya yezil next cursus twaim baratam, or you have to use, if you have to use the feminine gender of twoi, which is twaya. How will you use that? Ya yezil next cursu twayei sistroi. So, here as you can see, twaya has changed to twayei. So, ya has been replaced with ye and e krat ke. So, twoi masculine changes to twaim, and twaya, which is feminine, changes to twayei, twayei sistroi. Similarly, had it been moi, it would have become maim, and if it was maya, then it would have changed to mayei. So, moi, maim, twoi, twaim, maya, mayei, twaya, twayei. Let us move on to the plural thing, nash and vash. Next question we have is skem virasgavari veche. With whom are you talking, or who are you talking to? So, how will you answer? Using a possessive pronoun. I have written here as ya rasgavarivu snashim prapada vachalim. As you can see, I have used the possessive pronoun nash prapada vachal. So, with prapada vachal is singular masculine gender noun. That is why we will use nash in the nominative case. So, nash changes to nashim. So, ya rasgavarivu nashim prapada vachalim. I am talking to our teacher, male teacher. If you have to use the feminine form of nash, would be nasha. Nasha Pripada Vachal Nitsa, Nasha Pripada Vachal Nitsa, our female teacher. So, how will you change Nasha Pripada Vachal Nitsa in the instrumental case? Ya rasgavarvayu snashe Pripada Vachal Nitsi. Ya rasgavarvayu snashe Pripada Vachal Nitsi. As you can see, nash, we have added e and ma to get its instrumental case form, and we have replaced the ending a with ye and e krat ke in the feminine form. Similarly, if you have to use vash, it would have been vashim with masculine noun and vashyei with feminine noun. So, moi, maim, maya, mayei, twoi, twaim, twaya, twayei, nash, nashim, nasha, nashei, vash, vashim, vasha, vashi, and evo, eo and ek, they do not change their form in the instrumental case. So, this was about the declension of possessive pronouns in the instrumental case. Now, we will discuss the declension of demonstrative pronouns. Let us discuss the declension of demonstrative pronouns in the instrumental case. So, how do demonstrative pronouns decline in the instrumental case? Skiem vef strechelis chirav banke. Skiem vef strechelis chirav banke. With whom did you meet yesterday at the bank? And if you have to use a demonstrative pronoun ta with a feminine noun jevushka, how will you use that in the answer? Chirav banke yav strechilsya. Yesterday at the bank I met stoi jevushkai. So, ta jevushka, which was the nominative case form, had changed to toi, ta, toi, jevushkai. So, I met with that girl. Had it been eta, then it would have changed etai. So, eta changes to etai and ta changes to toi. The next is skem vidavno ni vigilis. Skem vidavno ni vigilis. So, with whom you did not meet or you did not see for long, and here you have to use etat chilavek in the answer. So, etat chilavek, which is the nominative case form, you have to use this phrase in the answer. So, obviously, you have to use the words in the instrumental case. So, how will you use the etat chilavek in the instrumental case? Ya davno ni vidjels, ya sečem chilavekam. So, I did not see for long this man. So, here as you can see etat has changed to echem, and chilavek, we have already done the declension of nouns chilavek, chilavekam. So, sečem chilavekam, ya davno ni vidjels, ya sečem chilavekam. Matlab for long I did not see this man. Had it been tot chilavek, then it would have changed to chem. So, tot changes to chem with the singular nouns, and etat changes to echem with the singular nouns. So, this is how we change the, or this is how we decline the demonstrative pronouns in the instrumental case. Etat, which is masculine form, changes to echem. Tot, which is the masculine form singular, changes to chem. Eta, which is the feminine form, changes to etai, and ta, which is the feminine form, changes to toi. So, this is about the declension of demonstrative pronouns. Now, we will move on to our next topic. The next topic we have for the lesson is the prepositions governing the instrumental case of nouns. This topic we have already introduced to you while introducing the instrumental case, and we have already discussed that there are 6 prepositions which govern the instrumental case of nouns. Which are those prepositions? Sa, which means with, nad, nad which is above, pat is below or underneath, mieshtu, mieshtu is between or among, perit, perit is before or in front of, and za, which is behind. So, now we will take up each prepositions one by one and see their uses. So, we will start with the preposition sa, which means with. So, let us look at the examples and you will get to know how this preposition is used. Valochya prashol sdrugam, Valochya prashol sdrugam. Valochya came with a friend. So, the question would be skem prashol Valochya, with whom did he arrive? So, when the question is came, obviously we will use the instrumental case of the noun, and here the noun would be drug. So, drug has changed into instrumental case, that is why we have used Valochya prashol sdrugam. The next example, Anna prishla spadarakam, Anna prishla spadarakam. So, Anna arrived with a gift, Anna arrived with a gift. So, what will be the question? Schem prishla Anna. So, with what Anna arrived? So, Anna arrived with a gift. Spadarakam. So, padarak has been declined into instrumental case. So, padarakam, drug, drugam, padarak, padarakam. And the questions are schem and schem. The next preposition which govern the instrumental case of noun is nad. Nad, we already know the meaning of nad, which is over or above. Something which is over and above something, we have to use the preposition nad. For example, io karcina visit nad kaminam, io karcina visit nad kaminam. Kamin is a fireplace. So, her picture is hanging over the fireplace. So, as you can see, after nad we have used the instrumental case of the noun kamin. So, kamin, kaminam. So, what will be the question? How will you ask a question with this answer? Gije visit io karcina, gije visit io karcina visit nad kaminam. Next example, pchitsa litiela nad domam, pchitsa litiela nad domam. Pchitsa is a bird, bird flew over the house. As you can see, Pchitsa lichiela nad domam. Here after nad we are using the instrumental case of the noun dom, domam. So, nad also govern the instrumental case of a noun. The next preposition that governs the instrumental case of nouns is pad. Nad and pad are antonyms. So, nad means over and above and pad means under or beneath. For example, Sabaki lishat patstalom. Sabaki lishat patstalom. The dogs are lying under the table. The dogs are lying under the table. So, Gidya lishat sabaki, sabaki lishat patstalom. But a very important thing I would like to discuss here is, if there is a verb of motion which has been used in a sentence, and if we are using this preposition pad, then we are supposed to use the accusative case of the noun. So, if this preposition is used with a verb of motion, then we are supposed to use accusative case of the noun. For example, Sabaki ubishali is patstola. Sabaki ubishali is patstala. What does it mean? The dogs ran out of the table. So, here as you can see, we are using a verb of motion ubishach to run out of something. So, that is why we are using the genitive case of the noun pad. So, I hope it must be clear to you. So, when the question is atkuda and we are using it is pad, then we are using the genitive case. But if we are using not a verb of motion, then we are using the instrumental case. So, now we will look at all the rest of the three prepositions which are meshtu, perit and sa. The next topic we have is the superlative degree of adjectives in Russian. So, how do we derive the superlative form of adjectives from an adjective? Superlative degree of adjectives are derived from the qualitative adjectives in two ways. So, there are two ways to form a superlative degree from an adjective. If you remember, while discussing the comparative degree, we have also discussed that comparative degree is also formed either by adding a word bole. Similarly, superlative degree of an adjective can be derived by adding the word sami. So, here we are adding sami before the adjective to get its superlative degree, and this is called a compound superlative degree. For example, there is an adjective chiste which means clean. If you have to make superlative degree from this adjective, what will you do? You have to add sami before the adjective, and this will work as function as the superlative degree. So, sami chiste is cleanest. Krasivi, krasivi, the feminine form of krasivi will be krasivaya. Then you have to decline this word sami in feminine and add the same thing to the adjective to get its superlative degree. So, samaya krasivaya, the most beautiful. As you can see, sami also declines as an adjective. So, sami, samaya and samaye. So, what about its neuter counterpart? For example, I have written here a neuter gender adjective dlinnaye, which means long. So, what form of sami will you use with neuter gender adjective? Samaye, samaye dlinnaye, the longest. So, as you can see, how do we derive a superlative degree, a compound superlative degree from an adjective? We just have to add the appropriate form of the word sami before the adjective, and we get the superlative degree. Sami chisti, samaya krasivaya and samaya dlinnaye. So, depending on the gender of the adjective and the number of the adjectives, we will use the appropriate form of the word sami to get its superlative degree. This was one of the ways we can derive or we can form the superlative degree from an adjective. The second way from which we can derive or form a superlative degree from an adjective is by adding the suffixes ye-she or I-she. So, these are two suffixes by adding which we can derive the superlative degree from an adjective. When are we supposed to use I-she and when are we supposed to use ye-she, that we will look at in some of the examples. Let us first start with the suffix I-she. I-she is used with the adjectives whose stems end with these three consonants, either k or g or h, and while forming the superlative degree there is some consonant alternation also happens. So, these three consonants, they undergo alternation. So, what kind of alternation they undergo? The k changes to ch, g changes to zh, and h changes to sh. So, these three alternation also happen while forming the superlative degree from an adjective whose stem ends with either k, g or h. Let us look at some of the examples. The first adjective I have written here is tihi. Tihi is silent or quiet. So, how will you form the superlative degree from this adjective? I have told you that after removing the ending, if the stem ends with either k, g or h, then we have to use I-she, and this g or h will undergo alternation. H changes to sh. So, the same rule will apply here. So, what will we get? Chish-I-she. So, here h has changed to sh and we have added the suffix I-she. So, that is how we get the superlative degree. Tihi, chish-I-she. The next adjective I have written here is visoki. What is visoki? Visoki is high or tall. So, how will we form the superlative degree, simple superlative degree from this adjective? Again we will have to remove the ending e and e kratke. So, we get the stem. So, now we have seen that the stem ends with the consonant k, and k will undergo alternation. What kind of alternation? K will change into ch. So, now we will write the stem with ch ending, v-i-s-o ch, and then we will add the suffix I-she. So, what will we get? Visach-I-she, Visach-I-she, which means tallest. The next is retki. Retki, the stem here ends with the consonant k. So, again we will do the same thing. We will first change k into ch and then add the suffix I-she. So, what do we get? Rich-I-she, Rich-I-she. So, now these are the regular rules. There are a couple of adjectives where we have to delete the consonant k while forming the superlative degree from them. For example, bliski. If you make the superlative degree of this adjective, we will get blish-I-she, blish-I-she. Here as you can see, this z has changed to zh, but we have deleted the consonant k, blish-I-she. And uski. Uski means narrow. From uski we derive the superlative degree uzh-I-she, uzh-I-she. Again here also we are deleting the consonant k. So, these two instances you have to remember while forming the superlative degree. So, and apart from these adjectives whose stem ends with either of these consonants k, g, h, with the rest of the adjectives while forming the superlative degree we will use the suffix ye-she. So, now we will look at some of the examples with the suffix ye-she. We have already discussed that the superlative degree of adjectives are derived from the adjectives by adding the suffixes I-she or ye-she. With respect to aishi, we have discussed that aishi is used when the stem of an adjective ends with either k, g or kh. With rest of the adjectives, we use the suffix yeshi. So, here are some examples with the suffixes yeshi. The first example I have is from the adjective inchiriesni. Inchiriesni is interesting. So, how do you form the superlative degree from this adjective? We will add the suffix yeshi. Inchirisniaishi. Inchirisniaishi. So, here as you can see, we have dropped the ending which is I and ikratke and added the suffix to get its superlative degree. The next adjective I have written here is sini. Sini is blue. Siniaishi. Siniaishi. Again we have to drop the ending and add yeshi to get its superlative degree form. The next is sloshni. Sloshni is complex or difficult. So, how do you form its superlative degree? Slajneeshi. Slajneeshi. We are adding the suffix yeshi. And the last example I have written here is prastoi. Prastoi is simple. Prastyeshi, simplest. So, these are few examples where we use the suffix yeshi to get the superlative degree. So, now we will move on to our next topic. So, now I will read out a text in which some words have been used in the instrumental case. Please pay attention to the text carefully and listen to me. The text is called On Dolshan Zanimatsa Sportam. He must be engaged into sports. Zanimatsa is a verb which takes the instrumental case of nouns. So, that is why sport has become sportam. Now, let us start the text. Mush gavarit zhenie. The husband says to his wife, Nash sin dolshan zanimatsa sportam. Our son must be engaged in sports. Sportam? Tisumasa shol. Are you mad? Are you out of your mind? On isho malinki. He is still a kid. Onni malinki. On zrosli mushina. He is not a kid. He is already an adult now. Yimu ushe pyachlet. He is already 5-year-old. On budit igraj khakiei. He will play hockey. Igraj is a verb which takes vashto. Va an accusative case, that is why khakiei. Khakiei kakoi ushes. Khakiei eta lyot. Eta apasna. Hockey? What's a horror? Hockey, it means ice and it's very dangerous. Kharasho. On budget igraj football. Okay, he'll play football. On budget futbolistam. He'll become a footballer. On budget futbolistam. Here also futbolist has been used in the instrumental case. Why? Because it's coming after the verb bit. Football, eta kashmar. Football, it's a nightmare. Football, eta fanati, eta khuligani, e piva. Football means fanatics, hooligans and beer. Eta ujasna, it's horrible. Nuladna, on budget plavach. Okay. He will swim. Zanimatsa plavaniam polyesna. Swimming is good for health or useful. Plavach, nikagda. Swimming, never. Baseine vada, mnoga vadi, eta strashna. In the swimming pool, there's lot of water and lot of water, it's very fearful. Moshit bich on budget zanimatsa tianism. Okay, maybe he can play tennis. Nizashto, eta vredna. No, it's harmful. Raket ka ochin tijolaya. The tennis racket is very heavy. A lishi and skiing, niyat lishi eta snake. Skiing means it's snow. Eta ochin khalodni, it's very cold. Eta plokha, this is bad. Nu yaniz nayu. Moshut bich oni pravda ishu malinki. Okay, I don't know. maybe he is still a kid. So, this was the text in which some words have been used in the instrumental case. With this text, I conclude this lesson here. We will meet in the next lesson. Till then, spasiba, do svidaniya.